Hi guys. Hello. Oh dear. Hope we are good, guys. I've been feeling a bit down today. Yeah, just a bit down. Yeah, hope we are all good, but I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, just a bit down. Yeah, one of those things. Yeah, guys, you're welcome. In case if I'm talking very, very low, just know that I'm just a bit down. Yeah, the first person here was Eucelia Carter. Hi, Eucelia Carter. And the second person was Lola. Okay, guys, let's come in. As you come in, can we go like? Thank you so much. I love your hair. Thank you. Can I have a shout out? Okay, I will. I will give you a shout out. Let's go like there. Yeah, please let's go like. Yeah, I'm just a bit down. Not, yeah, I've had paracetamol, so I'm okay. Okay, guys, let's put our name down now so we can start. Let's see where my strength can take me. Yeah, thank you so much. Let's go. All right, a big shout out to Gabby. A big shout out to Joshua. A big shout out to Maria. I like this stream. Thank you so much, Lola. A big shout out to Lola. Let's go. Please drop your names. I give you a shout out. A big shout out to Connie. A big shout out to Maria. A big shout out to Sandra. A big shout out to Femi. A big shout out to Sham. Yeah, guys, as you come in, please let's go like. Thank you. It's my birthday. Joshua, it's your birthday. Happy birthday to you. I'll sing for you later, not now. Okay. A big shout out to Imogen. A big shout out to Brooklyn. I know many of you have missed me. I try going live. Oh, thank you so much, Onyx. A big shout out to Noah. A big shout out to Gabby. A big shout out to Molly. A big shout out to Lily. A big shout out to Emily. A big shout out to Emmy. A big shout out to Dasha. Diva, hi, darling. A big shout out to Haley. Big shout out to Araniza. Big shout out to Frankie. Guys, please, let's take the like up to 15. Gerard, you will tear that book. A big shout out to Charlotte. A big shout out to Mawa. Big shout out to Dashi. Big shout out to Christina. Big shout out to Brayley. Can you put a book inside that bag? A big shout out to Emery Jones. I see you on Facebook. Did you? Have you checked my Facebook? So what's my name on Facebook? Don't worry. A big shout out to Emilia. Yeah, drop your names, guys. Oh, thank you. You're welcome. A big shout out to Diana. A big shout out to Rose. Your same is here. Okay, the same name. Are you sure that's me? A big shout out to Lisa. A big shout out to Kaylee. Someone said, yeah, she saw me on Facebook. So are you sure that's me? Are you sure? Yeah, guys, please, if you're just coming in, please let's go like and subscribe. Thank you for taking the like up to 10. I'm fine. I'm gonna go on your page. You're gonna go on my page. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, you can drop a comment to say, yeah, you saw me on YouTube, so I will know you are the one. And I also post so you can as well engage, watch my videos. They are lovely. Yeah. A big shout out to Irena. A big shout out to Haley. A big shout out to Dahlia. I post amazing things on Facebook, so. Yeah, a big shout out to Isabel. A big shout out to Olivia Rodrigo. A big shout out to Zira. A big shout out to Faith. Hi, Faith. You're back. A big shout out to Tiesa. A big shout out to Aurelia. And they perceive like say food they cook. A big shout out to Nora. A big shout out to Abbas. A big shout out to Anya. A big shout out to Jace. And I'm sorry I was late. All right, no worries. A big shout out to Junior. Yeah. Oh, I know you, Tony. Oh yeah, I know you, Tony Vows. Yes, I do know you. I was on your YouTube. I just saw the notification. I think, yeah, I know him. We are friends on Facebook. A big shout out to Charlotte. A big shout out to Ava. Guys, let's go. Let's go like and sub. A big shout out to Jacob. A big shout out to a big shout out to Sonia. A big shout out to Ketse. A big shout out to Zoe, guys, as you come in. Please drop your names on the comment section. Let's go. Early to bed, early to rise. Make a man healthy and wise. Yeah, guys, let's go. A big shout out to Mia. A big shout out to Hussein. A big shout out to Powerful. A big shout out to Zainab. A big shout out to Oli. Big shout out to Jace. Guys, let's go. When you come in, please put your name on the comment section. I'll give you a shout out, okay? A big shout out to Amaya Taylor. A big shout out to Jasmine. You put okay. Yeah, I'm just a bit low, like I'm a bit down, so please just bear with me. But I will give you a shout out, okay? I will always do that. So let's see how long I will stay. Clock it. I need your support, guys, okay? Thank you so much. A big shout out to Matthew. A big shout out to Force. A big shout out to Azaria. A big shout out to Edna. A big shout out to Faith. A big shout out to Essie. Thank you, Essie, for subscribing. Thank you so much. A big shout out to Florence. A big shout out to Leila. Go, girl. Thank you. Clock it. Jesco. Guys, if you're just coming in, can we please take the like up to 20? Jeremy. A big shout out to Jasmine. A big shout out to Force. Good girl, I got you. Thank you so much, darling. A big shout out to Amy. A big shout out to Pokey. A big shout out to Amana. Yeah, come make me tea. Don't feel it. I won't finish it if you feel it. A big shout out to Olivia. A big shout out to Rowan. A big shout out to Daliva. You don't need to fill it, okay? You can use the blue milk. A big shout out to Ava, my favorite band link. Yeah, guys, let's go. Please drop your names on the comment section. Put your name on the comment section, guys. Let's go, let's go. I give you a shout out, all right? Let's go, darlings. Yeah, can we take the like up to 20 as well? And don't forget to subscribe. Let's go. A big shout out to Elona. A big shout out to Amana. A big shout out to Force. A big shout out to Alyssa Queen. A big shout out to Celine. Clock it. Oh my days. A big shout out to Ellen. A big shout out to Heaven. A big shout out to Queenie. A big shout out to Phoebe. A big shout out to Sky. You slay. Thank you, darling. Thank you. A big shout out to Sarah. A big shout out to Joanna. A big shout out to Lizzie and Elizabeth. A big shout out to Eva. A big shout out to Sarah. You are the best, Sarah. Absolutely the best. Let's go. A big shout out to Lily, your sister. A big shout out to Equal. Guys, let's go like. Let's go like. Okay. A big shout out to Amber and Tracy. A big shout out to Umna. I'm your fave. Yeah, you are. Clock it. A big shout out to Indy. Hi, Indy. Hope you're good. Let's go. A big shout out to Sarah. A big shout out to Charis. A big shout out to Rejoy. Someone said you are our sister. Me? A big shout out to Burrow. I've not seen the comments. A big shout out to Charlie. A big shout out to Rejoice. A big shout out to Chloe. Shout out to Lilo. A big shout out to Faith. Shout out to Adele. A big shout out to Leo. A big shout out to Betty. A big shout out to Sophia. Yeah, someone dropped our sister's name, so I made a shout out of our sister. I think that is what you would say. A big shout out to Lucy. What's up? A big shout out to Lisa. A big shout out to Victoria. Guys, please put your name on the comment section back to back, back to back, back to back. Let's go. Yeah, we need to be quick, okay? Thank you for 19 likes. It's almost 20. Thank you so much. I didn't see that coming. Yeah, a big shout out to your brother, Abel. Yeah, thank you so much. Please also subscribe. Thank you so much. I love you. A big shout out to Lottie. Shout out to Rosie. A big shout out to Henry. A big shout out to Steven Bontin. I'm fine. I'm fine. Hi, darling. Hope you're good. Yeah, a big shout out to Dasimia. A big shout out to Sherry. A big shout out to Ibstisam. A big shout out to Yuki. Shout out to Sherry. A big shout out to, you forgot to subscribe. Please go and subscribe quickly. All right. A big shout out to Sherry. A big shout out to Jude. A big shout out to Good Girl. A big shout out to Kennedy. A big shout out to Jude. A big shout out to Henry. A big shout out to Ashleen. A big shout out to Finley. Yeah, put your name on the comment section. Can you type your name? I'll give you a shout out. Trust me. A big shout out to I sub. No worries. Thank you so much, darling, for subbing. A big shout out to Henry. A big shout out to a big shout out to Kennedy. I don't know what's choking. A big shout out to Rosie. A big shout out to Brick, the Brick. A big shout out to Isabel. Yeah, please let's take the like up. Let's take the like up and please let's subscribe. A big shout out to Tony. A big shout out to Kim. A big shout out to your big sister Bella. A big shout out to Ellie. A big shout out to Elias. Big shout out to Lean. A big shout out to Poppy. A big shout out to Lucas. A big shout out to Will. Oh, thank you for the 34 likes. Thank you so much. Yeah, please let us go subscribe as well. New subscription. Oh, thank you, darling, for subscribing. A big shout out to Rowan. A big shout out to Rosie. A big shout out to KK. A big shout out to Julie. Big shout out to Nata. Big shout out to Sarai. Shout out to Daylan. A big shout out to Queen. A big shout out to Van Six. A big shout out to Nata. Camilla, thank you for subscribing. Thank you, Shannon, for subscribing. Thank you so much. We slay. Gorgeous. Let's go. Can you put your names on the comment section, please? Let's go. Let's go. Please, if you have not liked, please let's go like. And if you have not subscribed, please let's go subscribe. Then put your name on the comment section back to back. Please, if I didn't see, you need to keep doing it. Then I will. Yeah, lock it. A big shout out to Taylor. Shout out to Beth. Shout out to Max. A big shout out to CJ. A big shout out to Ava. A big shout out to Sherry. A big shout out to Agia. A big shout out to Natalie. Thank you so much. I want to thank everyone for your support. Yeah, thank you so much. I really do appreciate. Thank you for 12,000 subscribers. Yeah, I'm really grateful. Thank you. A big shout out to Sarah. A big shout out to Cody. A big shout out to Avi. A big shout out to Easy. A big shout out to Painting. I love you too. Thank you, darling. A big shout out to Ho. I want your hairstyle. Okay, I'll give it to you. Just wait for me to take it off. I'll give it to you, okay? A big shout out to Nadib. A big shout out to Lazy. A big shout out to Eva. A big shout out to Natalie. A big shout out to Lizzie. A big shout out to Ho. A big shout out to Beckett. Beckett. A big shout out to Finn Wolford. A big shout out to John. A big shout out to Elizabeth. A big shout out to Snow. A big shout out to Fatima. A big shout out to Johnny. A big shout out to Phoebe. A big shout out to Ima. A big shout out to Sarah. Guys, if you have not liked and if you have not subscribed, please let's go subscribe. Oh, we have 40 likes already. Yay, thank you. I want to clap. I'm struggling to bring out my hand. Yeah, thank you so much, guys. I love you. Thanks for the likes. I do appreciate. Yeah, can we please subscribe as well? Okay, a big shout out to Azzy. A big shout out to Paka. A big shout out to Hair. A big shout out to Lisa. A big shout out to Hamza. Well, a big shout out to Haley. A big shout out to Lisa. A big shout out to Stanford Pines. Or Pines. A big shout out to Rosie. A big shout out to Private. A big shout out to Lena. A big shout out to Araline. A big shout out to Lenny. A big shout out to Izatiz. A big shout out to Jared. Thank you so much. Yeah, guys, can we take the like up, please? Can we get to like 50 something likes? Yeah, we can do it. And please don't forget to subscribe as well. I love you all. A big shout out to Brink. A big shout out to Edgar. A big shout out to Rebecca. Shout out to Aideen. Shout out to Ellie. You're so beautiful. Thank you so much. Big shout out to Ava. Big shout out to Cloud. Open it down, please. Thank you. Thank you. Big shout out to Mali. Big shout out to Big shout out to Skylar. Yeah, big shout out to Skylar. Big shout out to Lacey. Sorry, Lassie Page. A big shout out to Aliyah. I sub and I like. Oh, thank you so much, Aliyah, darling. Thank you. A big shout out to Addy. A big shout out to Addison. A big shout out to Richma. A big shout out to Zara. A big shout out to Paisley. A big shout out to Mila. Mila, I love you too, Mila. Thank you, my sister. A big shout out to your lovely sister, R-O-B. R-O-B. I struggle with that. A big shout out to SC. A big shout out to Haley. A big shout out to Lillian. A big shout out to Star. A big shout out to Dunamis. A big shout out to Darag. A big shout out to Fingers. My sister, good, okay. My regards to your sister. You speak English? Yes, I do. You're welcome. A big shout out to Millie. Guys, please, let's put our name down. Thanks for the 52, 53 likes. Thank you so much. Can we please go put our names down? Love your hair. Thank you so much. You're so pretty. Thank you so much. Guys, I need your names. Let's go. A big shout out to Senita. Thank you so much for the compliment, though. Yeah, thank you so much. I do appreciate. Yeah, I want to give you a shout out, but unfortunately, the names are not coming. The names are not coming, lovelies. A big shout out to Ari. Yeah, please don't forget to subscribe and to like. Thank you so much. I do love everyone. Yeah. A big shout out to Shannon. A big shout out to Stella. Hello. A big shout out to Sarah. A big shout out to Bengling. Thank you for subbing, darling. A big shout out to your sister. A big shout out to Ashley. A big shout out to Camilla. A big shout out to Harry. Not be a piece, you want piece. Oh. You're the holder. I love you too, Stella. A big shout out to Lexi Grace Bowen. A big shout out to Reshma Bisso. A big shout out to Chloe. Shout out to Cameron. Guys, if I didn't see your name, just keep putting your name out there. I'll give you a shout out. Just be patient with me. I'll say it. The more you put your name, the more I say it. And I give you a shout out, okay? Yeah, just keep putting your name. I'll give you a shout out. A big shout out to Haley. Shout out to Linda. A big shout out to Georgie. Shout out to Sherry. Shout out to Junior. I love you too. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Jake. Shout out to Olivia. Shout out to Sophia. Love from Indian. Oh, namaste. All my friends from Indian. A big shout out to Georgia. A big shout out to Amelia. A big shout out to Jake. A big shout out to Rahim. A big shout out to Maisin. Shout out to Finley. Shout out to Amila. A big shout out to Home. Shout out to Cole. Shout out to Seed. Shout out to Owen. Wow, his sister likes already. Oh, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Please let's subscribe as well. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. A big shout out to Sebi. Sebi said I subscribe and like. Oh, thank you so much, Sebi. Thank you. A big shout out to Sebi. Shout out to Adi. Shout out to Painting. Shout out to Mangi. Hi, Mangi. Shout out to Adi. A big shout out to Cassie. Shout out to Lila. A big shout out to Fatima. A big shout out to Bill. A big shout out to Amelia. A big shout out to Ania. Shout out to Ian. A big shout out to Gabriela. Thank you, Gabriela. Shout out to Habi. A big shout out to Cassie. A big shout out to Gregory. A big shout out to Millie Bobby Brown. A big shout out to Jasmine. A big shout out to Bill. A big shout out to Frankie. A big shout out to Abby. A big shout out to Typical. A big shout out to Bronze. A big shout out to John Lee. A big shout out to Brainsley. A big shout out to Jalen. A big shout out to Rahim. A big shout out to Julie's. A big shout out to Millie. A big shout out to Ruben. Guys, let's go, let's go. Let's take the like up, thank you. A big shout out to Mbia. You're really pretty. Thank you so much. Thank you guys. A big shout out to Hainsane. Pride. Won't they give me copyright for that song? A big shout out to Broke. A big shout out to Epstein. A big shout out to Rayleigh. A big shout out to Nara. It's like Pride. It's like the copyright don't count.
And the clean now.
Yeah. A big shout out to Jeffrey Epstein. A big shout out to Paris. A big shout out to Lala, your biggest fan. Thank you so much, Lana. A big shout out to Session. A big shout out to Mbia. A big shout out to Rowan. A big shout out to Nathaniel. A big shout out to Donald Trump. A big shout out to Santi. Oh, thank you so much for the likes. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much, guys. I do appreciate. Please let's subscribe as well. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Put your name on the comment section. Let's go, 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 go. A big shout out to Ava. A big shout out to Bella. A big shout out to Ivy. A big shout out to Emily. Let's go, let's go. Thank you so much. A big shout out to Daily Perez. A big shout out to Range. A big shout out to Zoriana. A big shout out to Ro. A big shout out to Sophia. Yay! We are now in 70 likes. Thank you so much. Yay! A big shout out to Olivia. Olivia has been waiting for ages. Sorry, darling. Thank you so much. A big shout out to Robert. A big shout out to Fanny. Yeah, guys, please let's also subscribe. Thank you. A big shout out to this situation. A big shout out to Ray. A big shout out to Morning. A big shout out to Fanny. A big shout out to Rebecca. A big shout out to Pax. A big shout out to Rayleigh. A big shout out to Mangi. A big shout out to Kenasin. A big shout out to Ariella. A big shout out to Ira. A big shout out to Zikra. Kra, 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 kra. A big shout out to Claudia. A big shout out to Amy. A big shout out to Ima. A big shout out to Eri. A big shout out to Gigi. A big shout out to Red. A big shout out to Sandy. A big shout out to Riva. A big shout out to Desnots. A big shout out to Erica. A big shout out to Bella. A big shout out to Nava. A big shout out to Neda. A big shout out to Rosie. A big shout out to Alima. A big shout out to Dean. Lie on your side. Lie on your side. A big shout out to Janinia. A big shout out to Phoebe. A big shout out to Genza. You drop dead gorgeous. I love your hair. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. You're gorgeous as well. I'm fine, thank you. A big shout out to Dolly. A big shout out to Safia. A big shout out to Astro. A big shout out to Treasure. A big shout out to Nemanja. A big shout out to Holly. A big shout out to Jaden Paris. A big shout out to Medina. A big shout out to Sophia. Big shout out to Henry. Hi, Henry. Please go like and subscribe. Let's go, guys. Big shout out to Kimberly. A big shout out to Nika. A big shout out to Alexa. A big shout out to Evie. A big shout out to Phoebe. A big shout out to Willow. You're welcome, guys, for thanking me. A big shout out to Andrea. A big shout out to Joseph. Shout out to John. Shout out to Joshua. Shout out to Covent. Gerard. Shout out to Lola. Are you sleeping? Can you help me with this pillow? A big shout out to Vanja. Can you help me with that pillow there? A big shout out to Evans. Shout out to Dave. A big shout out to Jasmine. It's just under those clothes. Thank you. I love that cozy outfit. Yeah, it's just a blanket, okay? A big shout out to Ole. It's quite cold, but not snoring. A big shout out to Broke. A big shout out to Maya. A big shout out to Oli. A big shout out to Imogen. Oh, guys, we've reached 80 likes. Clock it. Thank you so much for 80 likes. Please, let's don't forget to subscribe as well. Oh, thank you. A big shout out to Julia. Julia, how are you? A big shout out to Evani. How are you, Evani? Please go like and sub. A big shout out to Jaden. A big shout out to Alan. A big shout out to Alana. Please let's go like and sub. Thank you so much. Thank you super much. A big shout out to Bruno. Your ladies. Aha. Yeah, a big shout out to Phil Mike Kraken. A big shout out to Mali. I will sub. Thank you for subscribing. I just subscribed. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. A big shout out to Felicity. A big shout out to Zoha. A big shout out to Amaya. A big shout out to Blossom. A big shout out to Mia. A big shout out to Lily. A big shout out to Mildred. I just subscribed. Oh, thank you, gorgeous. Thank you. Thank you so much for subscribing, guys. I really do appreciate, honestly. Oh, we've gotten to 90 likes. Wow. Oh, my days. Thank you for the 90 likes. Thank you. I didn't see that coming. It was so fast.
I remember when you got to 90 likes.
It was so fast.
Yeah,
Please, let's go subscribe as well.
And then when you got to 100, you went crazy.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. Big shout out to Millie. Let's go. A big shout out to Oli. Thank you so much. A big shout out to Lilia. A big shout out to Uj Jazz. My birthday is 27th of January. No. Are you trying to tell me? Are you saying it's my birthday? Because that's my date of birth as well. A big shout out to Hope. I think you're just whining me. A big shout out to Sylvia. You needed a shout out. What's your name? I love Emo. Yeah, drop your name, darling, please. Okay, I'll give you a shout out. Trust me. A big shout out to Linda. A big shout out to Madia. A big shout out to Ivan. A big shout out to Kenda. A big shout out to Elena. A big shout out to Ima. A big shout out to Medu. We are twin, right? A big shout out to Raiden. A big shout out to Lily. A big shout out to Jace. A big shout out to Alexandra. A big shout out to Medu. A big shout out to Elena. A big shout out to Pias. A big shout out to Syria. A big shout out to Penny. A big shout out to WXP. A big shout out to Officer. Hi, Officer. A big shout out to Juan. A big shout out to Piers. A big shout out to Aina. A big shout out to Elisa. Yeah, let's eat 1,000 sub. Yeah. Yeah, for here, let's eat 13. A big shout out to Karina. Let's go. A big shout out to Anes. A big shout out to Esme. A big shout out to Karina. You're back, Stella. Welcome. Thank you, gorgeous. Oh, the like is going so fast, my darling. I'm not even seeing it coming. I'm not even watching it. When I look at it, it's gone far already. Thank you so much for the likes. And please let's subscribe as well. You are a very good live streamer. Really, I'm just trying. Yeah, I don't think yeah, I'm that good, but it's a good compliment. Thank you so much. I'm just trying. Although there's room for improvement and I'm open to improve on whatever I'm doing. So I'm still learning, okay, because I'm still a new subscriber, a YouTuber, I mean. I'm still a new YouTuber. A big shout out to Sonia, a big shout out to Dina, a big shout out to Isla May. Let's go. A big shout out to Addison, a big shout out to Robert, a big shout out to Lexi. Thank you so much, Liv. Thank you. Thank you for your support. At least you guys are here to support me, so I absolutely have no fear at all. A big shout out to Sarah. A big shout out to Grace. A big shout out to Jama. Yeah, especially when you have good people around you, I absolutely have no fear. I'm just super confident in what I'm doing, and I'm confident in my subscribers. So I'm good. A big shout out to Dina and Sidra. A big shout out to Kiana. A big shout out to Lisa. A big shout out to Sidra and Dina. A big shout out to Alana. A big shout out to This Situation. You're my favorite. No worries. I will always give you a shout out. Trust me. Wow, we've gotten to 100 likes, darling. 100 likes, and it's still counting. Wow. Let me clap. Yeah, thank you for the likes. Thank you so much. I do appreciate. Please let's subscribe as well. Yeah, we are not subscribing. I know we are liking, and I do appreciate, but it's like we are not subscribing like that. Please let's like and also subscribe, please. I beg of you. A big shout out to Sarah. Don't forget to put your name on the comment section back to back. I'm gonna give you a shout out. Yeah, a big shout out to Gabriela. Is that your name? You said it's your birthday. Can you put that down again? I pray I see it. Please don't just stop on one name. Just keep posting. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, keep putting it on the comment section so that my eyes can reach it and get it on time, okay? I'm sorry if I've not called you, but it's because you're not putting it out more. That is why. I think that's the issue. A big shout out to Lara. Okay, that's the issue. Not really, not me. A big shout out to Annabelle. A big shout out to Marcos. A big shout out to Lara. Yes, I can give random, yeah. A big shout out to Jeremy. A big shout out to Jeremiah. A big shout out to Vilma. A big shout out to Hemi. A big shout out to Caspar. A big shout out to Kane. A big shout out to Annie. A big shout out to Gecko. A big shout out to Raylene. A big shout out to Amelia. Thank you, Mary Sutton, for subscribing. A big shout out to Brooklyn. I love you too, thank you. A big shout out to Gabriella. Gabriella, happy birthday to you. Or is it Gabriella? Some will say Gabriella. Gabriela, happy birthday to you. I wish you the very best. Okay, shout out. A big shout out to Jacob. I'm a big fan. Thank you, Jacob. A big shout out to Ima. A big shout out to Jana. A big shout out to Bella. Aww. A big shout out to Austin. Yes, I reached 100 like, darling. Where were you? Thank you so much. Can we keep taking the likes up? Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I've celebrated my 100 likes. You were not here. Yay! Yippee! A big shout out to Lexi. I love you, Bella. Shout out to Bella. Your energy is so infectious. I always love your live stream in a better mode. Oh, yeah. I always leave your live stream in a better mode. Oh, good. You see why, yeah, I'll keep doing it, because people are being, how will I put it? I see positive comments every day on this live stream, and I think even if it's one person, I think I'm confident that, yeah, I'm doing the right thing, and people out there are happy about it. You can hear this comment. I will read it to everyone so that you can hear, because most times people just feel, what she doing, what she. So I said, even if it's one person that I touch by going live every day, and the person feels happy with it, I think I'm fine. I'm fulfilled with that. And the person said, your energy is so infectious. I always leave your live stream in a better mood. Yeah, that's a good one. Thank you so much, darling. I do appreciate. Let's carry on with our shout outs. Okay, let's go. You said true. I'm not doubting you, darling. Yeah, I'm not doubting you. You're absolutely correct. 100%. Yeah, correct. 100%. You're right. Thank you so much, guys. Let's go. Please don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, we don't regret it here. Yeah, let's go. A big shout out to Gracie. Shout out to Ciara. Shout out to Kingsley.
Yeah, from Sierra.
A big shout out to Lindia. A big shout out to Paris. A big shout out to Marcin. A big shout out to Rosie. I love your videos. Thank you so much, dear. I sub.
Yeah, what's your name?
A big shout out to Isabella. A big shout out to Celion. A big shout out to Kelvin. A big shout out to Elena. A big shout out to Isabel. A big shout out to Lou Shomo. A big shout out to Naomi. A big shout out to Sabrina. You actually keep your promise like other live streamer who say they are gonna do something and then end the stream. Yeah, I try to keep my promise, guys. You know, at the start of the stream, I said I wasn't feeling too strong, but because I promised to come back, that's why I'm here. And I think I feel much better. Yeah, my medication has been taken, so yeah, I feel much better, and I'm happy doing this. I think I'm feeling better now. A big shout out to Adria. A big shout out to Oscar. A big shout out to Avery. A big shout out to Noah. A big shout out to Owen. A big shout out to Mason. A big shout out to Noah. A big shout out to Sammy. A big shout out to Arena. A big shout out to Ree. Yeah, a big shout out to Blair. Good afternoon, Blair. Bless you. You are Thank you. You are a great person. Thank you so much, Adria. Please don't forget to like and sub. A big shout out to John. A big shout out to Zoe.
Just read that.
A big shout out to Nina. Should be they supposed they sleep. Who they make all those noise?
Post and paste.
A big shout out to Teddy. Yeah, guys, we have reached 120 likes. Wow, clock it. I have good community. Yeah, I'm proud. I'm super, super proud. I'm so happy that I belong here. A big shout out to our very. A big shout out to Chloe. Guys, I'll soon start dropping my content. You know, I said in 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks time. Yeah, in 2 weeks time, I'll soon start dropping my content back to back. Please, as you follow me on this live stream, please also follow me, you know, with my videos. Like, keep checking up on them. Just keep checking up on the videos to see if I drop anything any day, just to give me that support, just a little lift, you know. I'm new here on this channel. I'm still new. Just keep giving me that lift, keep giving me that support. It encouraged me a lot to keep doing it. Okay, so don't leave me alone. You have a great voice for streaming. It's really relaxing to have on in the background. Thank you. I love your videos. May God bless you, great lady. You deserve better love and more. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, thank you. Yeah, guys, let's go back. Please drop your names on the comment section. I give you a shout out. A big shout out to Aliyah. A big shout out to Manet. A big shout out to Emery. A big shout out to Averi. A big shout out to Lola. A big shout out to Grace. Shout out to Errol. A big shout out to Owen and Noah. A big shout out to Bella. A big shout out to Vox. A big shout out to Romy. A big shout out to say Leom. A big shout out to Bethany. A big shout out to Sierra. A big shout out to Ashley. A big shout out to Anika. You are so pretty. Thank you, Adria. Thank you, darling. You're gorgeous as well. A big shout out to Latisha. Latisha. A big shout out to Neela. A big shout out to Matty. A big shout out to Amira and Amelia. A big shout out to Jay. A big shout out to Ola. Olaf. To Briona. A big shout out to Asha. A big shout out to Sophia. Someone say I. Yeah, someone say I. Your skin look. Let me read that. Your skin look clean. Drop the routine. I don't have a particular routine. Trust me. Yeah, I don't have a particular routine. I just use normal soap and cream. I think I just try drink a lot. Yeah, and yeah, I try take vegetables. Yeah, it's like veg. I'm not I'm not a fan of that, but it is healthy. So I take something healthy, good for me, and I take fruits. So I think that help the skin as well. I think so. That is what I'll say. I don't have routine. I wish I have routine actually. Yeah, I wish I do have. But nevertheless, probably as time goes on, I'll try and have a routine so that I see what works for me, and people will want to also have the same routine and learn from what I've gathered. But nevertheless, let's keep it till then. Let's hold on till then. I don't really have routine, I swear. A big shout out to Sophie. I can use any soap, like any soap to bathe. A big shout out to Notigia. A big shout out to Millie. No, not the soap that used to inch you. I don't like ash soap. I don't use ash soap. Yeah, it's I used to have scratchy body. It used to inch, so I don't use that. There are some soap that are very, very harsh. I use mild soap, like Dove, Joy soap, Lux, and so on. Yeah. A big shout out to Tiara. A big shout out to Crystal. A big shout out to Sally Home. I am a big fan. Hi, darling. Thank you so much. A big shout out to Juniper. Hi, Juniper. A big. Your signing is so good. Your singing is so good. My singing. Do I sing? I don't know. Did you hear me singing? A big shout out to Jessica. A big shout out to Christopher. A big shout out to Ashley. A big shout out to Juliet. A big shout out to Lizzie. Hi, Princess. A big shout out to Princess. Princess in the building. A big shout out to Amia. A big shout out to Vlad. Shout out to Joseph. Hi, you are absolutely stunning. Thank you, Slay. You are a diva. A big shout out to Phoebe. A big shout out to Maria. Hi, Kiki, I'm back. Yunche, hi, welcome back. Hi, Preppy Diva. Hello. A big shout out to Lily. Guys, can we put our names on the comment section? I'm happy to give you a shout out. A big shout out to Sheena. A big shout out to Morik. A big shout out to you are radiant today. Your positive energy is glowing. I feel weak, like physically weak, but my spirit is strong. Yeah. So I might be physically tired, as in weak, down, but my spirit is always here. A big shout out to Esha. A big shout out to Anaya. That's why you're seeing me today. A big shout out to Brooklyn. A big shout out to Catherine. A big shout out to George. Guys, thank you so much for 130 likes. Ooh. Oh, are you sick? Um, not really, but I just feel like weak. Yeah, I just feel weak. Yeah, so I just need a little strength. Like not really sick. Like I just feel weak. That's all. But I know if I've taken paracetamol, I think that should be fine. Normally my voice is always louder than this, and more active, back to back. But you can see how calm I am. So I'm just taking it very slow and steady. Yeah, thank you so much. A big shout out to Leia. Yeah, I notice you, Leia. Is it Leia? I notice you, dear. Please smile. A big shout out to Brooklyn. I'm smiling. A big shout out to Ali. A big shout out to Rainy. A big shout out to Abby. Guys, let's go. Thank you to 130 likes. Yeah, clock it. Thank you so much. Yeah, let's go. Please drop your names on the comment section. I give you a shout out. Thank you. A big shout out to Juliana. A big shout out to Hedy. A big shout out to Winona. Winona. A big shout out to Hedy. A big shout out to Isabel. Keeper. You just like and sub. Wow, guys, Isabel just like and sub. Welcome, Isabel. Welcome. A big shout out to Esley. A big shout out to Hedy. A big shout out to Blend. Yeah, let's go. You kinda sound British. No, I'm not British. I'm just trying. But I live in the UK, so yeah, I think I just take some. I just listen to them, the way they speak, and I just try and learn it. That's the best I can do for myself now. All right. A big shout out to Ben. So I'm still learning. There's a lot to learn as an adult. A big shout out to Emily. A big shout out to Ben. A big shout out to Maya. A big shout out to Zachary. Zachary. Yeah, I'm from Nigeria. Yeah, I live in the UK. A big shout out to Libby. Thank you so much, Adria. A big shout out to Epstein. A big shout out to Bibi. Guys, let's go. Can we take the like up and please let's subscribe. Maia, subscribe. Thank you. A big shout out to Cortez. A big shout out to Jessinia. A big shout out to Fatima. Yes, I do have siblings. A big shout out to Jessinia. Guys, let's put down our names on the comment section. I know people are leaving, but I might want to start the stream again. A big shout out to Farah. A big shout out to Ima from Trinidad. Nice to meet you again. A big shout out to Cora. A big shout out to Jill. A big shout out to Yasmi. Yeah, guys, let's go. Let's go, let's go, 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 go. A big shout out to Zia. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for subscribing. A big shout out to Suni. A big shout out to Sophie Rain. A big shout out to Yesila. A big shout out to Sienna. A big shout out to Anika. Anika. A big shout out to Xiaomi. You're welcome. Big shout out to Paige. Yeah, I'm okay. I think I'm okay, yeah. I think I'm fine. One step at a time. You're so pretty. Thank you so much. A big shout out to Megan. A big shout out to Amaya. A big shout out to David. A big shout out to Autumn. Thank you so much, Day One Day. A big shout out to Autumn. A big shout out to Tana. Let's go, let's go. I think it's the network that is making people to leave. I think my network is so bad. I don't know why. I don't really know why. A big shout out to Jeffrey. Shout out to Ita. Shout out to Jeffrey Epstein. Shout out to Cluedate. Hi, Cluedate. A big shout out to Serene. A big shout out to Amaya. Amaya Chalas. Shout out to Nadine. Shout out to Daisy Lee. Shout out to Ita. Shout out to Branched. Shout out to Serene. What's your name? You have subscribed for 1 year now. What's your name? Maybe shout out to Harry. Don't whine me, oh. Yeah, guys, let's go like and subscribe. Thank you. Can we take the like up to 40? 140, please. And please don't forget to subscribe as well. Aye. A big shout out to Henry. A big shout out to Alex. A big shout out to Hayden. A big shout out to Chloe, Violet, and Paige. A big shout out to Raya. A big shout out to Bailey. Don't cry, you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. My eyes just feel itching. A big shout out to Ella. A big shout out to Yonche. Are you sick? Just a bit down, not sick like that. A big shout out to Azar. A big shout out to Amalie. Kiki, I sub to your channel. Oh, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you, gorgeous. A big shout out to Amelia. A big shout out to a big shout out to James. Are you okay? What happened? I just feel like weak, and I eat very well, but I just feel weak. That's all. That's all. Nothing much. Yeah, not really, not serious, not terrible. I'm fine. Okay. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Clock it. Wait, you sure you okay? Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. A big shout out to Cotton. If I sub, will you be okay? I know you have subbed. You've long sub, so you're whining me. Thank you so much, Adrena. A big shout out to Raya. A big shout out to Anaya. Guys, let's go. Drop your name on the comment section. A big shout out to Naomi. A big shout out to Abby. A big shout out to Romy. A big shout out to Kim. A big shout out to Naomi. A big shout out to Mary. Hi, Mary. Please go like and subscribe. Thank you. A big shout out to May. A big shout out to Lily. A big shout out to Roma. Let's go. A big shout out to Thomas. A big shout out to May. A big shout out to Hyunk. Thank you, Rizzo. A big shout out to Felix Andre. A big shout out to Macaulay. A big shout out to Lily. J. Macaulay. A big shout out to Jesse. Jesse, please sub and like every video. Jesse, you like every I think I have a lot of videos now, and Jesse has liked all. I think my videos should be going to, if not more than 300. How did you do that, Jesse? You must be clever. Wafa. A big shout out to Wafa. You you have just got yourself a new subscriber. My name is Thomas. Thank you. We have a new subscriber in the building, and his name is Thomas. Welcome, Thomas. Nice having you here, and I do hope you enjoy the channel. I do hope you watch my content when I start putting it out there. Yeah, thank you. A big shout out to Princess. A big shout out to Heavenly. A big shout out to Annie. I was in your stream yesterday. Wow, is that your first time? Because I stream every day. So if that's your first time, wow, you're welcome. A big shout out to Blackpink. I should do Blackpink song. I don't know. A big shout out to Toot. A big shout out to Sienna. A big shout out to Khan. Someone says stream video games. It'll be fun, right? Okay, I can do it one day. Or maybe one good evening. Yeah, I'll try. Yeah, I'll try. I'll see how it goes. Okay, let's see how it goes. Yeah, I'll try and do it someday. Yeah, it's a good idea, isn't it? A big shout out to Madison and Mackenzie. A big shout out to you share to all your friends. Oh, can I ask you a question? Go on, JC. Do you want to ask my favorite food, or am I married? Because that's the most asked question here now. A big shout out to Ryan. A big shout out to Khan. Please understand. Understand words. Can you say that again? I didn't see your question. A big shout out to Painting. What's your favorite song? Yeah, I don't really have favorite song. Yeah, I try to support all artists regardless of their background. So I try not to be, just play one song. So I support all artists, all music artists. Yeah, and I love the effort they put in creating their music, putting out their videos and all of that. A big shout out to Anis. So that's it, JC. That's it. A big shout out to Noila. Yeah, I still love Celine Dion. What's your favorite thing in 2025? A big shout out to Ima. A big shout out to Kai Senat. My favorite thing in 2025. Yeah, thing. Thing. Is it, what do you, please be specific? What do you mean by thing? A big shout out to Aurora. Hi, Aurora. A big shout out to Aya. A big shout out to Ima. A big shout out to Karen. A big shout out to Ruby. What do you mean by thin? Thin. Please be specific. Let me know the area in which I will talk on, if you don't mind. A big shout out to Cynthia. A big shout out to Anis and Adi. Are you twin? Tun 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 Sahura. So you're the one that always writes this Tun Tun Sahura. Now I see. I catch you. What should we do to him? A big shout out to Cameron. Let me wait for people response first. I'll get back to you. A big shout out to Mary. A big shout out to Calvin. We are twin. Yeah, we are twinning. Clock it. A big shout out to Victoria. A big shout out to Matthew. A big shout out to Sam Yates. A big shout out to It's Zayana. A big shout out to Destiny. A big shout out to Samantha. Oh, we've gotten to 140 likes. Guys, 143. That's massive, baby. Thank you so much. That is massive, guys. Thank you so much. I do appreciate. Yeah, and please let's subscribe as well. A big shout out to Anita. A big shout out to Destiny. Yeah, can we take the like up to 150? Yeah, at least. Oh my days. A big shout out to DL. Don't. A big shout out to Blake. Blake and Brody. A big shout out to Kitley. A big shout out to Arosh. A big shout out to Aurora. A big shout out to Kiwi Chicks. A big shout out to Leo. Hi, Leo. Nice to meet you. Nice to have you here. Please like and subscribe. A big shout out to Julia. A big shout out to Masin and Madeline. A big shout out to Kata. Shout out to Bruno Max. Shout out to others. A big shout out to Caitlin. A big shout out to Ivana. Thank you. Are you Polish? Do I speak like Polish? Yeah, why did you ask? Do I look like Polish? Speak like a Polish? A big shout out to Niobe. A big shout out to Mary Dates. I will answer your questions anymore. I just want to know why you asked. A big shout out to Ima. A big shout out to Meredith. A big shout out to Officer. Guys, let's go like and subscribe. Thank you so much. A big shout out to Kata. Shout out to Karen. A big shout out to Masin. A big shout out to Debbie. A big shout out to Chase. A big shout out to Annabelle. A big shout out to Dino. Big shout out to Lisa. Big shout out to For the Sake of. Big shout out to Milan. Big shout out to CJCC. A big shout out to Isabel. Hi, Isabel. Yeah, please let's go like and sub. A big shout out to Randostain. Big shout out to For the Sake of. Big shout out to Chasey. Big shout out to Lance. Guys, please let's go like and subscribe. Thank you. A big shout out to Idia las. Shout out to Diana. I love this. Thank you. A big shout out to Melanin. Thank you for the 150 likes. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I was cooking. Yeah. A big shout out to Bill. Yeah, do you want to see more of that? Mackey, where I cook, do you want to see more of that? I think I ended it because I think I was done cooking. Or is it today or yesterday? Probably it was yesterday. Yeah, I also stream today when I want to cook. So I don't know. Do you want to see more of that? A big shout out to Louise. Big shout out to Blair. I like Anna sub. Thank you so much. A big shout out to Veronica. A big shout out to Kiza. Guys, I will need to start the live stream again. It's like the network is glitching. So it's better I restart again. It's better. Let's do it again. So let me start again, guys. A big shout out to Brooke. A big shout out to Kenzia and Mary. Yeah, please let me start again. I'll be back. A big shout out to Reed. Yeah, I'll start again, guys. Okay.